Another little tip you can do, or handy thing you can do, if you're using transparencies in your bezel and you want some color in the background, you could start with one layer of resin and then a layer of transparency, and you'd pour a little bit of resin over that. You'd let it dry, and then you'd add a second layer of transparency, and that really gives you a really big dimensional look, which is really, really nice. Okay, I think this is ready. So I left the packing tape on this so I could show you the best way to take this off. And I take it off before I put my second layer on there because there's really no reason for it to be on there. And you just want to pull it away. And I like to place this down and pull because that way, if you have too thin of a resin layer on here, you won't rip it out. You're actually just pulling away from the bezel and not tearing anything out of the center. And if you have a little residue, you can use a baby wipe, or if you have something that's an undo product that takes off stickiness, you could use that. Just be really careful that it's not a high grade chemical because it could possibly eat through it if it's not meant to be used with resin. So I have my little word cut out here, and I'm using My Beloved. And it's a little bit larger than the center of my bezel, so I'm going to trim this. And I want to use sharp scissors that I use just for paper and plastic. I wouldn't use my fabric scissors again. And I'm just kind of trimming this down and eyeballing where it's going to go inside of the resin. So it's going to go about there. So now that I know it's going to fit perfectly when I put this on the back, I turn it over and I place this inside, because if you remember correctly, when we had this on the tape, we poured from the back, and we're just going to dab a little bit of resin onto here and make sure it stays in place. And I like to use a dabbing manner for this just because it's a smaller space, and I want to ensure that I'm not going outside of all of the filigree.